Hey, Cmax here. Welcome to the What to, Why to new slash non-reloader reloading series, video number 7. Um, in this video, we're going to talk about bullets. Just kind of go over different types and, what you're loading for. Okay. First of all, just kind of want to preempt, this is not a video for experienced reloaders. This is for the brand new or the reloader who is on the fence. Is this something I want to do or not? Try to give you some more information to decide whether you want to, start doing it or not. For the brand new reloader, it just tries to fill in some of these gaps. So when you're watching the how-to videos, which there's bukus of out there, it might kind of pull everything together better for you. At least that's the intent of the series. It's not meant to be complete or totally instructional. We'll hit some stuff here and there, but it's kind of a niche thing that I'm trying. I hope y'all like it. I've gotten some decent support on it so far. Well, enough of that. Basically, we're going to talk about bullets. What is a bullet? Is this a bullet? No, it's not. And it's kind of like this deal. Magazine clip. All right. This is a bullet. The bullet is the projectile. This is a case that has a bullet on it. Yeah, I know it's not a huge deal. It's just like the clip magazine thing. Sooner or later, you will get chastised for it. And you might as well know what you're talking about and use the correct terminology. Okay, enough of that. Now, you got your powder, you got your primers, we've got the cases all ready to go. What bullet do you get? Well, it depends on your purpose. Let's go over the types of bullets first. And let's start out with just cast bullets. Okay, what is cast? Cast just means it's a lead bullet. It's been cast in a mold. You'll notice the red here, that is lube. Why does it have to have lube? Well, with a straight lead bullet, there can be some smoking issues where the lead as it comes out the barrel will actually create smoke, or it'll lead up the rifling in the barrel really bad. Now, I'm not going to go into hardness or softness of the lead and all that kind of stuff, but that's one type, and there's issues with lead bullets. Not a big fan of cast bullets, except they can be very inexpensive if you make them yourself. What my experience was, and when I first started out to reload, I was like, well, I'm going to load, these cast bullets because they got to be cheaper. But as I searched, and I did big time searches, I came to find out that plated bullets were actually the same cost or cheaper than the lead. So I have pretty much loaded plated bullets for pistol completely. But what is a plated bullet? A plated bullet is a lead bullet that has a copper coating over it. Now you look at these are 9mm. You look at these and you say, well, that's a jacketed bullet. No, it's a plated bullet. Well, what's the difference? The difference between the jacketed and the plated bullets, now these are some extreme, and most of y'all are going, well, those are plated bullets. Most of extremes are, but these particular ones are 9mm, 124 grain, round nose, full jacketed. And as you can see, they look a little bit different on the base. You can see the base here, and you can, well, let me do it this way so you can see a little bit better. Okay, just for lack of a better situation. So what's the difference, you say? The difference is in the thickness of the copper coating. The plated are very thin. The jacketed are thicker. Now, the thicker jacketing gives the bullet strength, so it can stay together at a higher velocity. Cast bullets, plated bullets, maximum velocity, regardless of caliber, whatever, is basically about 1,300 feet per second. You'll hear some a little bit more, a little bit less. Best information that I have is around 1,300 feet per second. So we've got those, and now let's, so you've got combinations. Here is a hunting round. This is a rifle round, but you can see it's a jacketed bullet, but the tip of it, you can see that, is lead, so it's soft. That helps with expansion. We'll get into that stuff later. So some of the other things we have here, again, here's some jacketed 9mm from Hornady. These are 100 grains. Here are some 38 caliber. Let's see, these should be, okay. These are semi-wad cutter shape, hollow point, but they're semi-jacketed. So you get a combination, or you can get a combination of all kind of different bullets. And I've got some pictures of different bullets, and we'll go over those in just a minute. But my main point here is, what are you trying to achieve in shooting? In your loading, are you going to shoot targets at the range? Which, for pistol stuff, face it, most of our stuff is just target shooting. I mean, do you hunt with it? Self-defense. I don't particularly load my own self-defense rounds. I could, but years ago, and there are opinions on this, but years ago there was, I had read some legal stuff where, of course, the liberal libtards were saying, oh, well, you shot him with a bullet that you made yourself and it was extra lethal. Now, how stupid is that? But yet, that's the world we live in. We live in insane stupidity right now. Therefore, I don't load my own carry ammo. I typically use either Federal HST and 380 because it had the best ballistic testing. Most of the other ones I carry Hornady Critical Defense because of the testing that I found. Lots of good defense ammo. That's just my choice. There's lots of good choices out there. But what are you gonna be loading for? How are you gonna be using the ammunition? Like I said, most of the time, you're just gonna be shooting steel targets, running pistol cores, shooting holes in paper, So do you really need a jacketed hollow point bullet to punch through a piece of paper? No. And those bullets tend to cost a lot more than just your typical plated bullet does, So that's what you need to take into consideration of what you're loading, because that's going to affect your ammunition cost tremendously. I almost exclusively load plated bullets because it's cost effective and has worked extremely well for me. Now, let's look at some pictures of some different bullet types and talk about those. Okay, here's some cartridges with different types of bullets on them. Starting from the left, that's just a cast bullet that is a semi-wad cutter. The wad cutter line is basically for cutting holes in paper, so it's a good target load. A full wad cutter is usually set flush down inside the case and is perfectly flat across the top, kind of like the top of a can, if you will. So it's just that shape. The second one looks like a full military jacket, FMJ, jacketed bullet, and it has a round nose, so it's considered a round nose full metal jacket. The next one is what they call a semi-jacketed, a little hard to see there, with a lead tip. The lead tip is just flat and solid, so they typically would call that a semi-jacketed flat point.
The next one, and it's a little hard to tell there as well, but that is a hollow point. They refer to it as a semi-jacketed hollow point. Okay, real difficult. Now the next one, I'm not sure. That may be one of the new brass bullets. You know, California stuff. You know, of course, shoot lead. Oh, you're going to destroy the environment. Wrong. It's just another way for the socialist Californians to control their subjects. But I'm not going to get into that. Next, that is a shot shell cartridge. So basically what that is like a mini shotgun shell. But you put it in, you know, it's in a pistol cartridge, and usually not in semi-automatic calibers, in revolver calibers. And actually, I have a video on how to make those yourself, and I'll put a link to it here. And the very last one is another semi-jacketed soft, they'll call it like a soft point. There's other terminologies, but basically a soft point. So it's got lead on the very tip. Or to me, it looks like lead. It could be a polymer covered tip or polymer insert. Okay, here's just some shapes of bullets starting from the left going to the right. You have a they'll call this one a conical shape. Very similar shape to that. They call truncated. Flat bottom, so a lot of times they're referencing the base of the bullet as well. Here we have a round nose with a flat bottom. Here we have a round nose with a beveled base. Here we have a round nose, but it's a flat point, and the bottom of it's beveled. Here there's another conical, or this is referred to as a semi-wad cutter. There again, the base is tapered there, so they call it beveled. Button nose. I don't think I've ever really seen any of those. Semi-wad cutter, you can see it's just basically a shorter one. There again, beveled base. And then the regular wad cutter, like I said, it's shaped like a can, and it would mount all the way down in the case, where the top of the bullet would be flush with the end of the case. Now this is just some of them. There's many shapes and forms, and you know, you a lot more descriptive, especially with the hunting rounds. Okay, here again, starting left to right, you've got, that supposedly represents a lead round nose bullet. Then the LRN, these are the abbreviations, WC wad cutter there, semi-wad cutter, semi-jacketed, full metal jacket, semi-jacketed hollow point, jacketed hollow point, and the RBCD, I forget what it is, but basically that is a like a bullet that'll have maybe one buckshot round in it. Okay, here's another subject I wanted to cover. These are drawings of two types of bullets. One on the left is a lead cast bullet, and those grooves, as you can see, one has a crimp groove, or they call it a cantilever, and the other one has one for the lubricant I talked about to keep the smoking and letting down. Now the one on the right, you've seen these bullets that have those little tick marks all the way around it. Basically that's kind of the point that you're going to want to crimp it. Are they necessary or not? No, because how deep you seat the bullet is controlled by your mics, you know, your micrometers, and we'll get into that later. Okay, here's some good cross-cut examples. Now the bullet on the left is the full-size version, and then the one next to it on the right is the cutaway version. Starting from left to right, you can see that is a round nose jacketed bullet. The next one you can see is a jacketed hollow point. You can see the divot there for the hollow point in the top of it. The third one there, that case is an actually loaded case. That is a semi-wad cutter. You load those almost exclusively where they fit flush against the top of the case. Now notice in the wad cutter cutaway example, there's like a slot in the bottom. Well, you can see that bullet sits so far down in the case, they do that to give more volume for the gases inside that case. Because if it was solid, you can see there wouldn't be very much room at all. In fact, looking at the size of the volumes, very good examples here too. The one on the left is very large. The one on the right is very large. The ones in the middle, not so much. So that's where the heavier bullet has to sit down deeper into it. Then our last example there on the right looks like a NiClad or like a polymer type coated bullet. It's more of a semi-wad cutter shape with a hollow point in it. And in this example, you can see the bottom of the bullet's kind of concave, and that there again kind of helps give a little bit more volume. Now, whether it's like a flat bullet or a concave, that's where load data might shade different for the same size weight bullet by different manufacturers.
All right, real quick, wanted to talk about something I'd had in the other video. Here's a 38 special case that we've been working on, and she's in what I call ready status. She's been cleaned, she's been sized, she's been primed, she's been flared. I like to have lots of cases in this situation. Why? Because all I have to do is charge it with whatever powder I want and see the bullet on it, it's ready to go, which I can do very, very quickly. But what we were talking about before is the different bullets. I mean, clearly. So, what we were talking about in the volume of the case is this bullet is going to be seated to about here, okay? Because overall, it can only be so long so it'll fit into the cylinder because this is a revolver round. So this bullet being heavier is typically going to go into about there. So as you can see, that totally changes the difference inside the case, the volume. Remember, not an explosion, gas burning fast, creating pressure, and whoop, popping the bullet out inside the case here. So that's why a heavier bullet needs less powder. Makes sense now, but when I first got into it, that was just, really? So it's always better that you start off low, do your increments, loading up, 3.8, 4.0, 4.2 grains, 4.4 grains, up to whatever you're doing. So I wanted to point that out as well. So just kind of, I know when you first get out there, you run up to a Bass Pro Shop and they've got this powder and you grab it, although it probably may not be your first choice. It's there. And they've got a box of 9mm fully jacketed bullets instead of plated, and you're going to pay a lot more per bullet. But that's fine to get going. Understandable. But once you get into it, these things are going to be a factor. And there's no point in loading, expensive bullets to cut holes in paper. That just makes no sense, cost effective. So that is going to be a concern. Just wanted to kind of expose you to the different types of bullets, get you thinking about that and getting you shopping. Now, the real cost savings comes when you cast your own bullets and you make them. And the latest thing is when you cast your own bullets, instead of dealing with all this lube stuff that's kind of messy and a pain in the butt and what have you, the latest, greatest thing that's been led, as far as I can tell, by a couple of guys on the internet.
Okay, in wrapping this up, basically what you need to get from it is bullet choice is a huge thing. This kind of stuff is the things that the reloader thinks about that your average Joe shooter does not. They go down to Walmart and they see 9mm. Most cases, they don't know whether it's 115 grain, 124, 147. They don't even look at it. What kind of bullet is it? If it's just a round nose, full jacketed, which most of them are, or is it hollow point or whatever? Most of them don't know that either. And as we've shown here, that bullet that's on that box of ammo, for that price, whatever it may be, good or bad, makes a big difference. So, a lot of times these ammo score stuff, I got so-and-so ammo for $11.99 a box. Well, that's good, maybe. Might not be so good if you really kind of look at what bullet it is and compare it. That's how you compare ammo apples to apples. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you like the series. Please like and subscribe, share, get your buddies to look at it. Stay tuned for the next one. Have a great day.